What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. And hello everyone, welcome once again. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. Today I'm doing one on the Alpha and Omega, which seems to be taken from the Greeks. Alpha being the first letter, Omega being the 24th. They have 24 letters in their alphabet. We have 26. Hebrew has 22. Interesting aspects on those as well, but we're not going to get into that today. But Alpha and Omega, this is Alpha and Omega Decoded, and there's several different layers to this. Now, my methods of decoding, first and foremost, I use numerology. That is the decoding of words into numbers. Each cipher here, these seem to be the three most popular. I primarily use the Chaldean, but it doesn't matter which one you use, just not the ridiculous ones, these stupid reverse ones, and and these satanic, and they're in my opinion waste of time. But primarily I use the Chaldean. Each letter, A is 1, B is 2, you get into F is 8, and it's a little bit more complex. That's the primary one I use. Then I take those numbers and I compare those to the elements of the periodic table. Everything we speak is a magic spell. There's alchemy involved. That's what we're doing. We're turning the numbers into alchemy through the elements of the periodic table. Each of these have protons and atomic weights. And, once you get to understand this chart, life opens up a whole new ball game when it comes to decoding. Then, of course, I use pi, the digits of pi, 3.1415, the endless infinite numbers inside the cosmic egg, the zero. You can type in any number, find it with these two websites here. This one gives you the total amount of digits. Like, for instance, this is 231 decimal places past the 3 point. Then you can take these up right here, and the technique is you put it in here, and you can add up what those digits end up being. 231 spaces ends up being 1047 for your numerology on that aspect as well, which we can measure that using alchemy. So those are my methods of decoding. This is Alpha and Omega Decoded. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the scripture out of the Bible. Whether or not you fancy the Bible really is irrelevant, because a lot of people do, and because it's the most talked about, most popular spell book in the world, it is literally coming true because people speak it, believe it, practice it, preach it, pray on it. So it's real. And there's a lot of nuggets inside of it. There's a lot of disinformation, but when you decode it, you get the true information. Now, Revelation 22 verses 13 is the scripture that is in Mark with Alpha and Omega. This is from the New Living Translation, and I will point out it does not matter which translation you use. You can use the King James, Geneva, Wycliffe. Doesn't matter. It may be changed a little bit, but most importantly, it's going to be and lead you to the same thing. Now, I've highlighted these in yellow because these are filler words. I am, and the, and. Those are filler words. Now, they're important for a total numerology aspect, but we want to break down the nouns and the subject matter of this verse here, which is verse 13. Now, Revelation 22:13 is where it comes from, interestingly enough. Here we go again. We started off with a bang. That equals the number 47, matching that with the word tetragrammaton. You guys have shown this. I'm kind of beating a dead horse over and over, but it just seems to be leading to this 47 over and over. All the research I've been doing, as fate would have it, it keeps leading to that. And I mean, this is a big scripture, ladies and gentlemen. This is the deity, the one everybody calls God. This is the statement it's making. It's saying it's the first and last, the beginning and end, the Alpha and Omega. And that scripture equals 47, matching that of the Tetragrammaton, which is, of course, leads back to Hebrew. Now, you don't need to be Jewish. You don't need to believe in Judaism or be, Hebrew or whatever to understand where the origins of all this is coming from. Either the Tetragrammaton runs this matrix reality or it's hijacked it. One of the two. It's one of those two options. Now, interestingly enough, I've shown this here before, but I wanted to point out Washington, D.C., which is the capital of the United States, that equals 47. And then, of course, where the president lives in the White House, that equals 47. Now, what are the odds of these two being the number 47, which links up with the Tetragrammaton, which links up with this scripture of we're talking about God, the envision of God, the Alpha and Omega? You have to ask yourself these questions when you look at this kind of stuff. And we're going to be breaking these words down, the ones highlighted in yellow. So here we go. Alpha, omega, and I'm going to be bringing the Hebrew into this as well. Alpha, omega, it's an 18 and a 20 for a total of 38. We could go and say it's an 11, but no big deal. That's so loose. That's very vanilla, is the 11 when you add it up. And 18 and 20 ends up being, when we divide it, because we're talking about beginning versus end, it ends up being a 0.9 or 0.90. And the element thorium is the 90th element, and it's interesting because thorium equals 29, and that matches up with Godzilla, and of course I'm bringing in the Gnostic demiurge title of Yaldabaoth. And this is very, very important during this presentation. Now, I have Godzilla in here for a very specific reason. The movie came out in 2019, the new one, and I'm going to be showing a lot of this and why it's relevant, so bear with me here. But keep in mind, we have 0.9 in breaking down Alpha Omega, and it's tied to Godzilla and Yaldabaoth. Okay, so keep that in mind, and of course, 90, thorium, Thor, the cartoon character Thor, which some would say it's Jesus. This is the Norse. Behind here is a Norse icon. Okay, so we're getting into some Norse mythology. Now, first and last. So we had the Alpha Omega, we got the first and last. First and last, this is interesting because first is 18, last is 11. We could say that's the 9/11, but it's a 29. And that's why I was going to get into the Godzilla and the Yaldabaoth. That's why I have a picture of Godzilla here. Now, we want to divide these two. Again, we're talking first and last, two opposites. And when we divide those, we get 0.61. And that's important. I'm going to go through that in a second. That's actually really, really big. Now, Yaldabaoth is 29, as I mentioned. First and last is 29. Godzilla is 29. So what are we seeing here? We're seeing some patterns. And then, of course, the 50th card in the tarot is the Ace of Cups. And that's important, the 50. We're going to get into the 5-0. But I wanted to prematurely show you this to get you ready. Right there, this is a card of overflowing. Notice the dove with the Eucharist going down into the cup, and it's overflowing. This is a very, very powerful card in the tarot. And when you get that in a reading, I mean, it's a positive card, overflowing. But again, first and last is 29. Yaldabaoth, the Gnostic demiurge, is 29. Godzilla is 29. Ace of Cups is 29. Even if you go the poker card, the Ace of Hearts, that also equals 29 as well. But 61's the big standout. We're going to get into that as well. Keep your eyes on that 50. We're going to get into that more. Now, let's address the 61. I've shown this to everybody. If you've seen my work, I've shown this before many, many times now. Jehovah, alchemically, it's a 7-letter word. It ends up being through alchemy. Here's the trusty calculator with all these elements and its atomic weights. It ends up being 61.046. The 61's the big standout. The loose standout is the 46, Jesus Lucifer, which I've been saying over and over is Jehovah's personality. The black and the white, the feminine and the masculine equals the number 46. And of course, in physics, we're talking about the distinct forms in which matter can exist, from plasma to solid. The 4, which is why tetragrammaton comes into play, that equals 61. Matching that up with Jehovah. So there we go. There's the 0.61, first and last, 11 divided by 18. Now we get into the words beginning and end. Beginning and end totally is a 44, master number 44. That's a loose vanilla number. I told you, when you do the total aspects, it has some relevance, but when you get into the deeper aspects, that's when you really find the distinct platforms that lie behind the scenes. Now, beginning and end is a 30 and a 14. Go over to the trusty calculator. 14 divided by 30 equals 0.46. I just showed that. It's right there, the 46 in the word Jehovah. 46 is the mirror of the 64. And how many squares on a chessboard? 64. How many codons in a DNA? 64. How many numbers in the I Ching? 64. It's a massive number. And of course, we're talking the 6th chakra and the 4th chakra. That's the third eye to the heart. That is huge when it comes to how you perceive reality. Home is where the heart is. That's the 4th chakra. The third eye is what we observe things through when it comes through all of our 5 or 6 senses. So it's really, really important. And of course, Uranus, which is the kind of the old man, is the 6. And that's has a whole different spin as well. But Here we go. The Jesus Lucifer 4646. When you break that down through numerology, 4 is a 23, which is a 5. 6 is a 9. That's 59. Who created Earth is a 59. And we're talking beginning and end. So you can see how all of these are connected when you know how to look for them. This is a big standout, ladies and gentlemen. Big standout right there. I believe that's the personality of the demiurge, the creator, or the one that hijacked this matrix reality. I don't know yet. I haven't figured that part out. Now we get into Hebrew, because Hebrew became before the English and before the Greek. That's what history tells us anyway. And the word beginning in Hebrew is a number 52. The word end is a number 38. So we break these down alchemically. Here's the elements of beginning in Hebrew. And that equals 109.946. And then end is these three elements here: phosphorus, carbon, and chlorine, 15, 6, 17. And those end up being, through the trusty calculator, 77.943. 77 is a master number. That's the yin and yang in itself. But then when we divide these two, because we're talking opposites, the beginning and end, we end up getting 0.70. And then, of course, we bring pi into this. Where does 70 appear in the digits of pi? It appears at the 96th decimal digit of pi. So what do you think, what do you see with your own eyes after what I've been showing you? Beginning and end from Hebrew. Let's keep going. I have more layers to go. Why is the 96 important? I've shown this before. I want to bring it in again because I want to ram this down your throat so you understand really where it's at. Because when you start asking this thing questions, this artificial intelligence, how do you spell your name's 96? Where do we go after we die is 96. Then you have the mirror. Who wrote the Bible? 69. Who created numbers? 69. Who created language? 69. And then in the English ordinal, Jehovah equals 69. In one of the Hebrew gematrias, Jehovah equals 96. Matching that of the beginning and end with Hebrew through the digits of pi in alchemy. So it's not just going to be hand delivered to you, ladies and gentlemen, through numerology. You're not going to find the real truth of the matter through just decoding through numerology and saying, oh yeah, I've connected this and whatnot. These are very loose, but when you tie them to this and the digits of pi and alchemy, then you have solidified substance, or what I believe. Now again, these are my truths, as I stated in the very beginning of this video. But what do you see? It doesn't matter what I see. I'm just giving you my opinions, and that's all these are. But they're my truths. What do you see? What are your truths? Now, 9-6. I've shown this before. It's the great beast. It's the makeup of Jesus and Lucifer. I've shown this, but where does Godzilla fit into all this? Well, 9 is a 16, and 6 is a 9, and that's sulfur and fluorine through alchemy. And then when we add these up, the 9 and the 6 is the makeup of the 50.97. 50, of course, is the big standout. And the interesting part about the number 50, now let me digress. In numerology, the number 5 is the number of manifestations. It's where everything happens. It's the busiest number. It's Saturn's number. Saturn is the 5th planet. So it's ruled by Saturn, which of course is the giver and taker of our bones. In the astrology aspects, the 5th house is where our mojo, our sex, it's what drives us. It's where all governments and politics and religions are formed. 5 is the busiest number. And it just so happens the 50th element, which is tin, which some will tell you it's Jupiter, and I don't agree that whatsoever. I think it's more Saturn than anything else. But look at the actual atomic weight. The most abundant atomic weight of tin is 119.902, and the 92, which I'm going to digress, the 92 is a mirror of the 29. So it's really interesting there. But the big standout is the 119. We press 911 on the phone when there's emergencies. It's on the cop cars. It's on fire cars. It's everywhere in our reality, the 911. What happens on 9/11. And there's reasons why. And of course I have Godzilla in the middle because the 9/6 quite could be the Godzilla, the Yaldabaoth, the Tetragrammaton, the Yod. And, it's really interesting because Hebrew equals 25, and that's directly tied to the 9-6. And of course, if you study Hebrew, it's all related to Jehovah and YHVH and Yahweh and Yod-Heh Vah-Heh. It's all related to the 96 in Hebrew. It's really interesting, the origins. It seems that the origins of the 9-6 are coming from this. Of course, the word adversary, black sun, parasite, all those equal 25. Now I'm going to bring in another element that I have been slowly integrating in my work. This is the animal tarot. It's a Native American tradition. These cards, there's 52 of them, which matches the 52 weeks of the year. And whoever created this system is divinely guided, because these cards, and I'm going to show you more than one instance, but notice that, again, we're talking the 25, the 9-6, and the 25th card is the fox card, which is a mischievous, like the fox kind of, if you study cartoons, it's in the Wild Coyote, and the fox, it's a heritage of the fox, even though it's a coyote, but it's still linked to that. I believe it is anyway. Maybe I'm mistaken on that. But anyway, the fox is the 25th card. And, through English Ordinal, fox is a 666. Fox News, we could go on and on with that. Foxtrot, we could go on and on with that. And the interesting part about fox through numerology, it's an 875, which is oxygen, nitrogen, boron. Go to our trusty calculator, we add that up, it ends up equaling the number 41.007. That's interesting, there's a 007 there, but the 41's the big standout, and of course that's the element neobium, and that element has an atomic weight of 92.906. Look at the 96 right there, and then of course in front of that is the 92, and that's the mirror of the 29, which is Yaldabaoth, which is Godzilla, and I've shown that. So it's really interesting where this leads when we bring another layer into this. And of course the fox, is the mischievous one. It's the sly fox, You can't catch it. You study nature and the fox. I've studied the fox. You can't catch them. They're very tough to catch. They're the sly animal. Now we get into the beast. I've shown this before. The 96.096. It's the makeup of Jesus and Lucifer. Jesus through alchemy is 38.049. Lucifer is 58.047. When you add these two up together, you get 96.096. What are the odds of that being the case? Well, again, I keep saying, very accurate when you know what to look for and how to actually observe the numbers through alchemy and numerology. So 96. Now, this is a very interesting aspect to consider, ladies and gentlemen, because when you look at the number 96 through the decimal digits of pi, it comes at the 180th position. And that's half of a circle, 180 degrees. Well, when you add up two of those, because we're talking about two 96s here, and of course there's your circle right there, but we're talking two 96s, and you have 180 degrees of Jesus, which is the blue, and 180 degrees of Lucifer, which is the red, or vice versa. There's your police lights, the blue and red. It's the throat chakra down to the root chakra. And that equals 360 degrees, which is the perfect circle, which is why I showed, many of you are Tool fans, it's why I showed Tool here. I mean, it's right there. There's the same symbol, right there inside Tool. And I mean, do you think that these guys know what's going on? I mean, I've decoded these guys with their music, and blows me away, man. Blows me away that the matrix talks through them so many different ways. But there's your cross, ladies and gentlemen, right in the dead center of those two circles, 180 degrees, half and half. It's very interesting, 180 degrees plus 180 degrees, and there's what it is. It's the perfect circle. It's 360 degrees, and we could decode that as well. I'm not going to do that now, but you can do it on your own. Now, beginning and end, when we break it down through its totality, 52 and 38, we have the elements tellurium and strontium. And when we bring those into alchemy and numerology, tellurium and strontium end up being the number 70. And I showed this in the previous slide. The numeric string 70 appears at the 96th decimal digit of pi. And then, of course, how do you spell your name in both the Septenary and Chaldean is the mirror of one another, 69 and 96. And there's the tie-in right there. We're talking beginning and end with one of the oldest languages in the world that we know of, that we can decode from. Now, here is the tarot cards of the 52 and 38. Now, this is not the 52nd card, but when you add up 52 and 38, you get the number 90. Remember I showed you the number 90 all the way back here. Try not to get dizzy, but it's right there, the Alpha and Omega, the 90, the thorium. Thorium's 29, Godzilla Yaldabaoth. So when we go back here and we observe the 90, when we add up the beginning and end, the 90 broken down through numerology is the 16 and the 21. And I've shown this before, fear and love, the only two emotions. Every other emotion is subordinate. But these are the two that rule us, love and fear. And of course, the 16th card is fear, which of course causes upheaval and uproar and change. When we fear something, if we hit it head on, we end up blowing it out, which is the Tower card, which is the card of, this is a phallus. This is creation. Out of fear comes creation. And then of course the 21st card, which matches that of the word love, is the World card. So that's why I have these two here. It's rather interesting. What do you see? 16 and 21, 9-0, beginning and end. Different spin on it. Now we bring in the Animal Tarot once again. I shown the fox being the 25, which is the adversary, which is related to Hebrew. But now we're going to get into the beginning and end, the 52 and 38 again through the Animal Tarot. The 52nd, the last card in the Animal Tarot is the Black Panther. What movie came out through Marvel not too long ago that really killed it in the box office? Black Panther. And of course, that was purple. He had a purple image to him. And 52 is the last card. And when you go and study the Animal Tarot, the words for it is it's embracing the unknown. Well, isn't that what the beginning is? Because we have to embrace, when you're a child and you're born or you start something new, it's the unknown and you got to embrace it. How fitting. These aren't the words that I chose. I didn't choose these. This is from the Animal Tarot. This is what the authors that wrote these cards, this is what they came up with. They didn't, I guarantee you, they didn't know and have this in mind, but as fate would have it, because it's all uplifted into the matrix, this is how it works. So the 52nd card, matching that of beginning in Hebrew, is the Black Panther, embracing the unknown. And then the opposite end is the frog, the 38th card, the end. And the frog's statement is it's a cleansing card. What do you got to do in the end? You got to cleanse the earth. You got to clean it. That's what's going to happen. We have a reset coming, and it's near. It's near at hand. It's coming. And there's got to be a cleansing of the earth. There's too much pollution, too much negativity. Too many scumbags out there trying to ruin everything. Too many service to self. Too much ego. Too much hate. Too much violence. The frog is here to clean it up. And the interesting part of the Black Panther and the frog, when you break that down through numerology, here yet again we have another 61. 61. And, remember, this is neobimium. I showed that. That's through the fox. That's through the 96. And then, of course, this is the judgment card. But nonetheless, 61 through numerology is a 917 or a number 26. And the interesting aspect is I am that I am is 26. The word God is 26. I could go on and on with the 26. But those are related to, the word Jehovah, because I've shown that through the 61. But let's keep going. Black Panther and frog, again, 61. I'm showing the 55 because of the fact that the four faces of God, as talked about in Ezekiel 1 verses 10, lion, ox, man, and eagle, those end up being the number 55. And of course, that's tied to the 61 through the elements of Jehovah. And that's done through this right here, Ezekiel 1 verses 10, which is this scripture right there, which ends up being the ox, lion, eagle, man, 55. It ends up being the number 30, which ties to the word Jehovah. And then you have your ox, lion, eagle, man, 55. And that's why I'm showing that tie-in, the 61. Do you see how all these are linked? It's insane when you really get to know all these layers that we can observe from. And then, of course, the word God is a 374 trusty calculator. We add them up, it's a 3031, which, again, it's linked to the word Jehovah. I didn't make these things up, man. These are all linked. And, of course, the Gnostic aspect, demiurge, which, again, in the beginning of this presentation, you had Yaldabaoth, Godzilla. These are real things that are tied to all these. And 3031 is zinc and gallium. And, again, here's the fear and love. 30 and 31, this is the alchemical aspect of the word God. It's 3031, zinc and gallium. Zinc and gallium is 16 and 21. Fear and love is 16 and 21, and that matches right there. Beginning and end, 52 plus 38 is 90. 9 zeros, 37, 16 and 21. So these are all directly related, ladies and gentlemen. All of them. And that's my last slide, but what do you see? What do you see? I see the 61, I see God, I see Jehovah, I see these elements all being tied together, and, whether you're a Bible fan or not, it's really irrelevant because these are really direct links. But there you go. I mean, Black Panther being the last card, the frog being the 38th card, matching that of the Hebrew beginning and end. I mean, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Embracing the unknown in the beginning and cleansing of the earth in the end. It just so happens to be a 61, which is tied to Jehovah's name through alchemy. So is Jehovah or Yaldabaoth, is this the demiurge or is this the creator of this matrix reality? I don't know. I know it's the 96.096. I know that. I go by numbers. Names and titles, they're very loose because obviously you can see how many tie-ins we can get. I mean, Jesus in the Greek is nowhere near the 18, but it's relevant in the English. But I really think there's some truth to this Yaldabaoth and the Gnostic aspects, and you're seeing these things. And keep in mind, the number 41 is where hell is, because hell is the root chakra, which is the number 1 chakra, and heart chakra is the 4. That is the 666, ladies and gentlemen, which ties to the word fox, because the root chakra to the heart chakra are the elements hydrogen through krypton. And when you add up the numbers 1 through 36, you get the number 666, which matches that of Fox, which of course, matches that of Yaldabaoth. It's all tied in, and here you go, Godzilla, the 9-6. And of course, why is he breathing blue? Well, tin is the 50th element, and the 5th chakra is blue. And that's the reason why. And of course, what governs the 4 to 1? It's the throat chakra. We speak our spells. That's what we do. But what do you see? Now, I know what I see. Loud and clear. What do you see? Alpha and Omega. It all starts with this scripture right here. It doesn't matter what translation you use. It's all going to point to that right there. Being stuck in the box, which is the tetragrammaton. It means 4, tetra, 4. The cube, the square, the box. The box is hell. We live in hell. The 4 to 1, the 1 to 4. Satan equals 14, 1 to 4. So you got to get out of that box. That's all I got for today. My name is Logan. Till next time, decode your reality. Thanks for watching.